I'm smiling to the camera.
You don't have to smile. Okay, my name is Vladimir. I'm one of the technologists here. So today we'll be talking about this ventilator, which is called Carestation from GE. We use it as a main ventilator, and we have about 35 units of it. So you'll be seeing it being used in ITU and HTU. In side rooms mainly, yeah. So you don't have any knowledge about the ventilators, okay? So we'll go to the complete basics in this case. Alright, so we'll start with the ventilator, obviously how it looks outside. So this is the main screen, and this is the unit that does all the work, yeah. The screen you control via these buttons and the knob. When I'll switch it on, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you switch it on from the back, there is a button over there. Make sure it's plugged in when you are using it on a patient. It can run on a battery as well. The minimum life is half an hour, yeah, but it can go up to an hour and a half or so. Sometimes we may take it for a transfer as well on lifts and so on. Okay, so obviously you need a gas supply, and this particular ventilator needs oxygen and air supply. It can run only on one of them, but obviously if you're using oxygen supply only, you'll be delivering 100%. If you're using air supply only, you'll be delivering 21%. Okay, so we'll switch it on. This is the sound it makes at the beginning, so don't be scared of it, yeah. It takes approximately 30 seconds to load up and do a quick self-test, and after that it will prompt us to do a pre-use check. So basically you do a check before connecting it to the patient, yeah. This way you can check the integrity of the this block, which I'll talk about a bit later, integrity of the circuit, if the valves inside are working, if the supply of oxygen and air is good enough, and so on, yeah. So now about this block. This block is called exhalation block. So this block is responsible for the patient, or exhalation of the patient, and at the same time this block contains this part, which is called the flow sensor. So when you guys collect these ventilators from the equipment room, our main equipment room, you know where it's located? As you go down the corridor on the right hand side before you actually go to ITU or HDU. Yeah, so that's the place where we keep all the main ventilators, hemofilters and other devices. You already find it with the block attached over here, and with a certificate saying that it's been decontaminated and it has been checked and it's safe to use. But still, it is recommended that before you connect it to the patient, you do a pre-use check, because obviously you'll be using it with a new circuit, and sometimes there is a very, very small chance that the circuits may come damaged from the supplier, and you can find that fault by doing this pre-use check. So about the block, yeah. We assemble the block here and we do the pre-use check. So when you assemble, you put this main part of the block connected with the flow sensor. You need to hear a click in case you will need to do it from time to time, yeah. This is called water trap, which you place it in here and twist it like that, and it's secured. And this is diaphragm. So this diaphragm is actually releasing, giving the patient a chance to breathe out, because this pin will trigger the diaphragm, which will open or close the way, this pathway, yeah, for the patient to breathe out through this. So we have a flow sensor in there, yeah, which will detect the flow, the volume, yeah, and so on. Okay. So we've connected the block like that. To disconnect it, you pull this down and pull it out. Yeah. So when you place it in, you place with this part
I already
inside
open hand.
over there, like that, and then you push it in. You need to hear a click. Yeah. And it's secured. Yeah. Okay. So now.
Okay.
Switched it on.
Back to,
You did the check.
try to find
This is the
back
main
to,
screen.
Bye-bye.
Checkout is highlighted, so that's the first thing we need to do. Okay. When you do the checkout, you need to have your tubing. Yeah. This circuit already has this antibacterial filter connected. You don't need to do previous check with the antibacterial filter connected or HEV connected. Yeah. So we're going to disconnect it. Okay, so you connect one end of the tubing to inspiration, one to expiration, and this the end that goes to the patient is called Y, yeah, because it has the shape of letter Y. You'll have to occlude, and so if you want to occlude it, you can use this bit of the ventilator, so you just push it in, yeah, and it's occluded. When we hear this alarm, it's a sign that it's actually occluded. When it's connected to the patient and it's not ventilating, you will hear the same alarm. That's why it's asking you, is the patient connected or not, because it may be in danger because it's not ventilating. Okay, so we want to do the previous check. As I said, it's already highlighted. You just need to press the knob down. Make sure start check is highlighted. You press again and it starts doing the check. Yeah? You will go through all these steps and it will give us pass or fail. In the end, if you have at least one that has failed, it is not safe to use the ventilator. Yeah. You either call us if it's during the day so we can sort the problem out. If it's during the night, just bring this ventilator over here, leave a note on it that it's not passing the previous check, and take another ventilator from the cupboard. Yeah, but make sure you are following the correct steps. And what I mean by the correct steps is you make sure you connect it to the supply. A lot of nurses don't connect it to the supply. They do previous check, and the first few steps over here will fail straight away. Or the tubings are connected where they are supposed to be connected. So it's simple. This can be connected either here or here. Yeah, doesn't matter, as long as one of them is in each port here, and this one is occluded there. Or you can occlude it with the original red cap that comes in the pack of the circuit. Okay, so it will do the previous check, and after that we will talk a little bit about these buttons on the screen and how you go through the menus and what basic things you need to do in order to prepare the machine for patient use. Yeah. So here at the front we can see some other ports. Yeah, we're not using this one. This is for extra pressure detecting in the circuit, but we are not using this. This is for a nebulizer, which we will talk about probably at the end. Yeah, you can use ultrasonic nebulizer. Yeah, and you don't need to use the flow meters for nebulization. Yeah. Okay, you hear that sound. Follow the instructions that are saying remove occlusion from the patient Y. So that's that. We're gonna pull it out. You'll do the last bit of the check. Boom. Everything is passed. Safe to use. Perfect. Okay. Now, when you connect it to the patient, as I said, you'll need this antibacterial filter, which you connect here. The exhalation. Yeah. So it will protect the block and the ventilator from contamination. Yeah. Then here we'll be using this HME. What's in HME? Do you know what's an HME? No? Heat moisture exchange. This is a way of humidifying the gas that patients are inhaling. It's not the best way of humidifying patients' breathing, but it's the basic one. It's better than nothing. Yeah. Okay. So at the same time, this HME contains this port, which we use to connect Untitled CO2 monitoring. Yeah. Okay. So then you connect this probably to catheter mount, how it's called, yeah, and which is connected obviously to T-tube or to trachea. We'll be using for this training purposes this lung, yeah. Okay. So it's ready to go. Just press yes there, and you can press normal screen. Normal screen will take you to this screen wherever you are in the ventilator. Okay. So talking about the buttons. This button is called standby button, so when you press it, you'll get this menu, and if it's ventilating, you can stop the ventilation. If it's not ventilating, you have the option of starting the ventilation, obviously, or you can put it on park. You park the circuit, yeah? Because
I went downstairs.
sometimes nurses will stop the ventilation on the patient, they'll connect it there, but it will alarm, yeah, thinking that it's connected to the patient. When you put it, you hear the alarm, yeah? When you put it on park circuit, the ventilator will know that its circuit is parked and it's not connected to the patient, so it will not alarm. Okay? And normal screen does the same thing as the button. Okay? Okay, so over here, oxygen boost. When you press this button, it will give a 100% oxygen boost for 2 minutes, or if you press it again, it will stop. Nebulizer, you will access the menu about the nebulizer, which I'll talk later. Procedures, we need to start ventilation to access that. So I'm going to start the ventilation. Okay. So in the procedures here, there are only few of the procedures we are actually using in this unit. Yeah. So suction. When you press that, it will actually give an oxygen boost, prepare the patient for a short period of time. Then it will be low supply of oxygen. So that's why it's giving the boost. You do the suction, and you go back to normal. Yeah. Inspiratory hold, expiratory hold. They're doing this from time to time here in order to do some ventilation measurements, yeah. Then same applies to intrinsic PEEP and other procedures here, which we can use only if we have a special module connected to it, yeah. Okay, let me see if the module is present in the back. I haven't used it for a long time.
We don't have one.
No, we don't have one here. Okay. Anyway, we will not insist on it now because it's used very rarely. What it does actually, it's measuring some ventilation volumes, and it's measuring the consumption of oxygen, and it's measuring the consumption of energy as well. Yeah. Okay. So that's the procedures. These buttons over here are shortcuts to the ventilation parameters, yeah? So if you want to change the FiO2, you just press this button and you dial up or dial down whatever value you need. Inspired pressure, in our case, because we're in bi-level, you can change it. Minimum pressure, yeah. How do you call this? Ratio between inspiration and expiration, respiration rate, and the pressure support, yeah? So these things obviously will change as you change the ventilation mode. So about the ventilation, everything you need to do about the ventilation is accessible via this button, Vent Setup. So if you press it here, you can select your mode from over here, yeah, as we can see at the moment we are on bi-level. So if you want to select, for example, volume control, yeah, know anything about the respiration modes? Okay, so there are mandatory and spontaneous. Mandatory ones that are fully controlled by the ventilator, spontaneous ones that the patient is actually putting an effort and the ventilator is assisting.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I'm not going to insist on that,
Bye.
as it's not my
That
responsibility.
everything
It's
is
not my
urine and
Urine and serum.
cup of
Yes.
tea. Yeah, speaking
thank you.
we are more technical.
7
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're going to select this
Way
round.
volume control, which is
Yeah.
assisted
Thank you.
mode. Yeah. So ventilator will do the whole work for the patient. Yeah. So we've selected the mode, but we need to select the parameters as well. Yeah. So oxygenation, tidal volume, and so on. Let's say we want the tidal volume of 400. Yeah. Respiration rate of 15. And we're gonna leave the rest as it is. So now we just need to confirm. You navigate with this knob until you see the green highlight on the button over there. Yeah. So you press confirm, and we are in volume control now. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, this has changed as well with the new mode of ventilation. So, from what I've shown you so far, you can change the ventilation settings either by pressing these individual buttons or by accessing the menu here. Okay? So, backup mode is, in backup mode. You select which mode you want to be as the backup mode. In our case, it's a bi-level. That's the one that probably the doctors they select, they decide which one is the backup mode. So what happens in the backup mode is if there is like an occlusion or ventilator is seeing that the patient is struggling, the breathing, or the ventilator is struggling with delivering the specific ventilation, it will trigger the backup mode, yeah? Which in theory, in some cases can help improve the breathing. Okay, so that's about the setup here. Spirometry. Spirometry, when you press that, it will show you this graph. Actually, this is called loop, yeah? And you have a graph of volume against airway pressure. This can be changed. You can put flow against volume, you can put pressure against flow, and so on. But I think in general nurses prefer volume against pressure. Yeah. You can see here in the loop type, you can select which one you want. In the Spiro setup here, if you want the Spiro to appear in the split screen, that means you'll have a portion of the screen that will have the loop of the graph shown. Yeah. You can change it. You can change the split screen to other things like trend. It will show you the trend. It will show you only the airway pressure, or it will show you the Spiro D, which is the parameters we get usually the module I was talking about earlier in the procedures. Yeah. Okay, so in our case, let's just put none for now. As you can see, it disappeared. Yeah. So if we go back on spirometry, then spiro setup, we'll select spiro. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. So I talked about the screen a little bit, and let me talk about the screen. Yeah. Okay. So the screen of the monitor is divided in multiple areas. Yeah. Let's say consider areas. Yeah. This area is the area of waves. Yeah. You can see volumes. You can see. Sorry, this is pressure. This is volume, and this is spontaneous volume as well. Yeah. You can change it obviously, but this is a standard mode. What probably you will see is this one at the bottom being changed from time to time. Yeah. Okay. On this side we have the digits that will actually show you the values of those specific parameters. Pressures, we have the peak pressure, we have the peak, yeah, we have the average or mean pressure. Then here the volumes, the flow, yeah, minute volume, which is the volume in 1 minute, or it's equal to tidal volume in one respiration times the number of respiration. Yeah. So 6.1, 15 breaths per minute. So if you think quickly about it, 400 times 15 is about 5,000 milliliters, which is 6 liters. So this times this should be always equal to this, approximately. Okay. Then we have FiO2 here, which is the fraction of inspired oxygen, yeah, concentration of oxygen in the gas we're giving to the patient. Okay. Then here, this optional one is showing us actually the spontaneous volumes. What I mean by spontaneous is the volumes that are actually done and triggered by the patient. So because this is a fully controlled ventilation mode, this will be 0. So our patient is not putting any efforts at all. And usually you have this kind of patients that are fully sedated. Yeah. Okay. This one is optional as well, and you can put any values you want over there. You can put even these values to appear over here. Yeah. In our case, it's compliance and I think that's the pressure in the circuit. I'm not sure. I don't want to be mistaken. Yeah, but I think this is the pressure in the circuit. Okay, so we talk about spirometry a bit. Now, moving on this side. This side is probably the most important buttons you'll be using here. Is silence alarm and alarm setup. Yeah, obviously silence alarm, it does exactly what it says. It will silence an alarm. Alarm setup, over here, you don't just adjust your alarm limits, you can have a look in the history of the alarms. Yeah, so adjusting the alarm limits. Press this button, you get this submenu, and the first option you have is adjust limits. So if you press that, then you can navigate through the specific parameter which you want to adjust the limits for. Yeah. For example, in our case, we know that we set the tidal volume for 400. That means we should not really expect on a ventilated, fully ventilated patient, fully sedated patients, volumes higher than 400. So in our case, we can just put it around 450, yeah? So you know if it's exceeding that, you need to check your patient probably may be waking up and it's trying to breathe on its own and things like that. Then select the lower limit to about 350 maybe. In this case, if it's not delivering 400, you may have an occlusion in the circuit or any other issues, yeah? Okay, respiration obviously as well. If we put it at 15, there's no way the ventilator should be doing more than that, unless, as I said, if patient is trying to breathe on its own, yeah? Okay, so that's about adjusting limits. Then you have an option here. Okay, finish with that, press back. Auto limits. Well, this auto limits, it's applied usually to what the ventilator is detecting. So if it's detecting a pressure of around 30, it's detecting borders of around 400, it will automatically just put the settings that, the alarm limits that ventilator thinks it's safe. Yeah. We don't recommend using that, obviously. That's why every nurse that comes in the morning, they check the alarm limits on the monitor, they check alarm limits on the ventilator. Yeah. And you set your own alarm limits which you are comfortable with. If you're a beginner, probably you want more tighter alarm limits. So when it alarms, you'll be paying attention what's going on. Yeah, and asking more experienced nurses if it's normal, if it's not normal to have this kind of values. Alright? Okay. Then
you
have other options here. Leak limit, apnea time, alarm volume. So leak limit, usually you may have some leak alarms which are related to, obviously, to the leak. So on a intubated patient, you should not have any leaks unless they deflate the cuff. So if you know your cuff is up and you have leaks, then you need to pay attention what's going on. It can be the leak from the circuit, it can be the leak from the tube, and so on. That's why it's important to set this alarm limits, yeah? Apnea time obviously means it will trigger this alarm after set time of which ventilator is not detecting any breathing from the patient, yeah? And obviously the volume of the alarm, that's up to you how loud you want it to be. And then the other thing I was telling you about in the alarm setup is the alarm history. So here you can go back and see what kind of alarms you had before. For example, your ventilator was alarming, but you were in a different bed space, you didn't have time to respond quickly and have a look what's happening with the ventilator, the alarm disappeared. So you can go back in the history and have a look. Or you had a situation when you had a specific alarm that is bothering you, or you feel concerned about something, you have to call the doctors if it's to do with the patient and show them this alarm, you call us, or if it's to do with the ventilator, you show us this alarm, yeah? Alright? Okay. Then the help button usually gives you an idea of what you can do about the previous alarm, yeah? In our case, we have this alarm which says the ventilator is running on battery, and it gives you a suggestion what you can do, yeah? So it says AC mains is not available, ventilator is powered the battery, plug power cord in, yeah? Just the basic things. Obviously it will not tell you give patient 500 whatever medication, yeah? Just simple alarms, how to deal with them. Trends is the history of the ventilator, and it stays there unless we reset it, and usually it's reset it when we do a pre-use check. And going back to alarm history, it will be reset if the ventilator is switched off. Yeah, compared to trend, it will stay there unless we reset it while we do the previous check. We have an option there. Okay, so what it tells us? It tells us exactly the history of ventilation. Yeah. So in our case, we can see here that at 12:20, the minute volume was 4.1. The entitled was 257. Respiration was 16. So if you forget to do maybe your ops, things like that, you can go back and have a look in the trends. Yeah. You can set the scale. So at the moment the scale is 2 hourly. What does it mean is that as the scale is bigger, it will show you a less and less times. Yeah. So if you put it for 8 hours, obviously we've been using it for 20 minutes. It will not show us what happened in the last 8 hours. Yeah. If we put it 12 minutes, this whole graph covers 12 minutes. So we'll have 12 inputs. That means for every minute. And so on, yeah. We put it 1 hour, 12 divided, 60 divided by 12, that's 5, so every 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay, any questions so far? No? Then in the trends here, obviously these are the measured values, numerical values. You can select the graphical one. So it will show you a waveform. And you can have a look, for example, here, kind of being constant 15. If you have a look during the whole day, you may have like constant value, then boom, a spike. So in this case, you need to ask yourself, what the hell happened there? Yeah? And things like that. That can be very useful when you have a lot of data and you're going through a lot of data. It's difficult to notice through the numbers. If you look in the graph, you will see the spike, or you see the drop, things like that. Now you see unusual shapes of the waveform. Okay? Snapshot. It's like taking a screenshot, on the computers, yeah. So there are cases when the machine will take automatic snapshots when there are specific alarms are triggered, or you can take a snapshot as well. You are concerned about something happening to the patient, yeah. You take the snapshot, yeah. It's a snapshot created. You call the doctors and say, listen, this is what happened to the patient, yeah. The ventilator was alarming, blah blah blah. So you press the trend button, go to snapshots, and it will show you snapshot, and you can show it to the doctor. Yeah. You can go for the pages as you have multiple pages with the data. Yeah. Okay, you can have a look through the values and say, it's fine, don't worry. Yeah, just give more drugs. Okay. Then, probably the most sophisticated menu can be accessed via this system setup. By this system setup, you can access a lot of things that you can access by pressing one button. Okay, so if you press the system setup, you will have this patient setup, where in the patient setup you can stop the ventilation, start the ventilation, select the patient weight, put the input patient details, yeah, and then you can access the vent setup, which is the same thing as this one. We talked about it already, yeah. You change the ventilation settings. Screen setup obviously is to do with the setup of the screen. So you can rearrange, if you want, the waveforms, digital windows here. Yeah, for example, as you can see, the first waveform is pressure, second one is flow. These are default ones, we cannot change them as far as I know, yeah. They are factory default. You can change the third one I said, you can select any other parameters, but in general they keep it for spontaneous breathing. Yeah. Okay. Digital field is this part, and you select the parameters you want. Yeah. Split screen, the one that can be accessed through spirometry as well. So let's have, for example, trends here. Yeah. Brightness of the screen, layout full. This is the most sophisticated view probably. If you want the basic one, you can select this, which is too basic. Yeah. Parameter setup. Over here you can select how do you want the data to be collected, what's the source of the data. What I mean by data is all these parameters, volume, pressure. Yeah. As a default, obviously, is collected by the ventilator. Yeah. If you have that special module I was talking about, that can be selected as well. So in the option here, you see the module of ventilator. We leave it on ventilator all the time now, as we are using ventilator. Yeah. Then the rest, we're not using any of these settings unless we're using the spirometry. Yeah. And the pause setup one here, when we're using that special calorimetry module. Okay, going through the next one, system status. So when you select this, it will usually tell you how much is the battery left for. Yeah, it will show you the maximum. It will always show you 30 minutes. Yeah, when you go below 30 minutes, you'll get an alarm saying less than 30 minutes. Then you go get another alarm when it's less than 20 minutes, another alarm then it's less than 10 minutes, another alarm less than 5 minutes. Yeah. Pressure 400, 441, 422, that's pressure. Altitude, I don't know if it takes altitude. You can go to the mountains, will tell you, oh, you're at the 1,600 meters height. It's a good tool to have. Take it on your back, you measure the altitude. Yeah, okay. And running hours, for how long, many hours it's been used for. That's a lot of hours. Okay, then the data transfer setup, we never use that. I think the engineers are using it to transfer. Okay, so questions? Yeah, when you start using it, you'll have a lot of questions at the beginning, and then you'll become very, very used to it, and you'll probably know more things than we know. This setup of the circuit I was talking about, this is called dry circuit. You can use another option for ventilation. It can be humidified circuit or wet circuit, and for that we need the heater as an extra. Yeah, it doesn't come with the ventilator. When you need a humidified circuit, you usually call us and we will set up, and you need special circuit for it as well, which is this. This is an example. Okay, so with this humidification you need to connect this chamber. It's called the chamber. Yeah, so you have a water collected over there, the water will be heated, create some vapors. This is how you humidify the patient. Yeah, and then this bit of the circuit, which is color coded, as you can see. One part is for inspiration, one is for exhalation, yeah? And it's very important you connect them correctly. I'll just show you how to do it, but probably the first few times you'll be using it on a patient, you'll have to call it. So let's stop the ventilation for now. Put it on standby. Yeah, we don't use this. Remove it. Okay. You need a special antibacterial filter. You need, this is a bigger one, and the reason why we're using it, it stops the particles going through the block to the flow sensor, and it's crystallized on the sensor, and you have false reading. That usually happens when you use humidified circuit and some drugs that are delivered via the nebulizer. Yeah. So connect this bit over here. I don't think it will reach over there. Usually we place it on this side. Yeah. Okay, let's pretend that it's connected on that side, yeah? We usually connect to that side. So, okay. So the gas comes through the inspiration port, yeah, over here, goes to the chamber where it's humidified, then transferred to the patient and exhale that way, yeah? And we need to connect special wires as well. There are two sets of wires. This wire is called temperature sensor, and this is a heating wire. I'm not talking about them. So what this wire does is detecting the temperature at this point, just before going to the patient, and at this point. So this way it can detect if it's not overheating or it's heating enough the air, yeah, or the water that's humidifying the air. Then we have the other set of cables, which is called heating wire. The function of this cable is to heat the wires that are inside these circuits. So these circuits, you see the wire inside?
Yep.
Yeah? So these circuits are heated. This way you will have less chance of producing condensation. Yeah? Because when you are running warm air through a cold circuit, it will condense. When it condensing, it will form fluid in the circuit, and it will kind of form an occlusion for the air what's going to the patient. Yeah. So this wire is connected over here. It's very important that you connect them properly. Go blue to blue, yellow to yellow, and arrow to arrow. Yeah. Some people are forcing it and they are breaking the wires. Alright. Then you have one here and one over here. So one obviously will go to the inspiration one, and the other one will go to exhalation one. Yeah. So we can hit the both parts of the tubing.
Does it matter which one goes where?
Yes, it matters. You cannot connect this one over there. You know, you can connect this one over there, but you cannot connect this one over there because they have different shapes as well. Oops. Yeah, this one has the shape of this, like a triangle, and the other one looks like this. Yeah. Okay. So the only thing that's missing from this setup is this extra connector, which we will be using for Untitled CO2 monitoring, obviously, because we don't have the HME where we connect to the port. Yeah, so we need this one. Where do you connect the Untitled? Do you know? Which side of
Where
part of the circuit?
exhalation.
Exhalation. So in our case, this will be the white part of the circuit. Yeah. Okay. So this is the setup for humidification. In some cases, when we have enough blocks, I don't think we have one to show you. There are special blocks, heating blocks, that cover this exhalation block, and it will warm it in order to create even less condensation build up inside the exhalation block. Yeah. Okay, so that's to do with the humidification. Then I talked about nebulizer. So this is the nebulizer I was talking about. Yeah. As I said, you don't need to use any gas to drive it. Yeah. This will be driven by the ventilator via a pump that's inside. It's like a micro pump, and it will create even smaller particles than the one that the gas-driven nebulizer can create. Yeah. So for that you need this part, which is called the nebulizer kit. You'll find it in our storeroom, and you need this cable. Cable you will be connecting to this port over there, and make sure you connect a red dot, yeah, to the red dot, yeah. Otherwise you may break the port, yeah. Okay. So it's connected, and then you connect it over here. Now you need to tell the ventilator to start it. We'll have to start the ventilation first. And then you go to the nebulizer. How much volume is in there? Okay, let's say it's 3 mils, yeah? How much time you want it to run for? Okay, let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes. 1 cycle, or if you put 2 cycles, it will stop after a while, take a break, and resume again, yeah? Then you press start, and you'll be getting this. You can feel how thin these particles are. It's like smoke. Compared to the other ones, you actually feel that it's wet. Yeah? Okay? So what issues you can get with this is mainly because the cables will not be working. They usually fail at this part or this part. So if it's not working, you can try sometime to see if you fiddle with it, if it will work. Or you may get some fluid in there, and when you connect it, you don't make a good contact, yeah? Or you have a bubble that's in between the pump and the actual fluid sometimes, yeah? Air bubble. So what you do, you just remove it from the circuit. Make sure this is closed, and just give it a shake, yeah? Okay. If that's not working, and if it's not working with the new cable, that definitely means you need to change this. It's very, 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 very rare when the actual ventilator has a fault which will not trigger the nebulization. Alright? More questions?
Where do you connect that from?
What do you mean? For the patient? Yeah. Obviously you need to connect it to inspiratory one. It is Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Tell them about NIV.
NIV, yes. Sorry, forgot about NIV. There is an option where you can use this ventilator for NIV or non-invasive ventilation. Yeah. For patients that are not sedated, you can use masks. Yeah. Or you can use hood. So, in order to access that, patient setup. Yeah. So, in the system setup, let's start again. No mistake. System setup. You select patient setup, and then you select non-invasive on. You'll notice the screen has changed a little bit. You have the picture of mask over there. Yeah. Then you select your parameters, and it depends on how you select your parameters. You can do a CPAP, you can do bi-level, but in general it's known as an NIV. Yeah. Bi-level, I mean BiPAP. Okay. So you'll usually have a lot of issues with the leak with this mode, and what we recommend is just switch off the leak alarm. Yeah, because this ventilator is very sensitive, and we expect you to have a lot of leak when you're using the mask, even if you're trying your best to fit the mask as good as possible, you'll still have some leak. Yeah, so that's why it's recommended even by the company to set the alarm, remove the alarm on leak. Yeah. Okay. Even on apnea, you may change it as well if you want, but just need to keep an eye on it.
You use it? I collect it for food.
Okay, so that's an option of NIV, but usually people need NIV. We have plenty of devices, selection of devices we can use for NIV. Anything else I missed, guys? Actually, I think that's all. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay. Good.